Welcome to the mindful musings of two spiritual mamas. We are Alicia
and Shelby,
here to share our 20 years of authentic friendship, life experiences, and acquired wisdom. Infused with love and intention, our episodes will inspire those who are ready to shift their soul path into alignment with its divine purpose.
We will discuss alternative approaches to life's traditional pathways, leaving you with tools in your spiritual toolbox to navigate everyday moments. Knowing and embodying the empowered self on a daily basis is one of the most valuable practices you can adopt. Understanding that you are surrounded by a network of support, both physically and spiritually, will carry you into the next phase of your divine purpose.
You are not alone on this journey. We recognize we're on a spiritual path, navigating our day-to-day lives, and in this podcast, we'll share with you our organic thoughts as we grow and blossom together.
Welcome to episode 11 with Two Spiritual Mamas. I am Shelby.
And I'm Alicia.
And today we are talking about trust. Trusting in the moment, trusting yourself, and trusting that you are able to interpret the moment for what it truly is.
Because it might seem like chaos.
It might seem like chaos.
But we're going to talk about finding the meaning in it, and really the core of that is trust.
Yes, trusting the universe that we are given what, I hate that saying. Sometimes you're given what you can handle. And I'm like, wow, how much more can I handle? But in truth, you're given what you need to grow. And it's not always peaches and cream. But you can do it. You can do it.
You can do it. And we're going to give you some steps. We've got some 1, 2, 3s for you.
Yes.
And we want to celebrate that we're finally in spring. Yay!
The spring equinox today.
We're recording on the equinox.
Sky here. Yep.
Beautiful. And rain and sun and rain and sun and flowers back and forth. But we wanted to say thank you to all of our listeners because this has been a really fun journey for both Shelby and I. And we're excited to be here at this turning point. The spring equinox is about balance and the equality of light and shadow. And we bring that into our talk about what we, see from a spiritual perspective, how we live this spiritual life that we live. And we want to invite you to continue to send in questions about how to live this way of being, how to implement these tools in your life, because today's episode was inspired by one of those questions from our listener who asked, how can I find peace in the chaos?
Yeah. And some of us, says me, sometimes I feel like my life is all chaos. I've got a lot of children, whether they be students or my own personal children. And I have to admit, I don't always follow my toolbox tools that Alicia and I talk about with you guys. And so a lot of times I question myself, how do I step into this role better? And then I realize that I do it every day with every interaction. I'm processing through a lens of grace, of trust, of beauty, of divine intervention. And I remind myself that that's how I integrate, and while it might not look like a nice yoga pillow in front of my altar with my sage and my candles, I could be teaching a gymnastics class and I could be in the most spiritually aligned moment ever. So it's not, it doesn't have the picture, the photographic image you're thinking of spirituality. Spirituality is everything. It's in your breath. It's in your, it's in everything. It's in the way you walk. It's in the way you talk to yourself. I was reminded this week when I was working with Judy, our spiritual midwife, I said something and she's like, Shelby, your body is listening. And I was like, oh, you're right. Yes, I do this all the time. We've talked about it on our episodes. But just to be reminded that our bodies are listening to how we think and how we integrate all of this stuff. So trusting that you have it and trusting that each opportunity in front of you is presenting you with a lesson, it makes life so much easier to handle because you're not like, dang it, what the heck is going on? This is chaos. This is, this is happening to me. Like, why is this happening to me? It's like, no, this is happening for me, right?
Yes, it's in the belief and the perspective. And so if we can believe that every moment is a divine moment,
Mm-hmm.
everything that is brought into your life is there for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be that reason could be that you needed to learn something, that you needed to look within and see your own reaction from a past experience. Maybe it's a gift. I mean, it's always a gift, but maybe
Mm-hmm.
it's a hidden gift and you need to figure out how to uncover the
You
gems
do.
within. But it's really in the belief system of trusting that you can handle this. You
Mm-hmm.
can do it. It's happening for a reason. And every single moment that comes into my life that's a crazy pivot, turn, shift, what could feel like chaos, I trust that it's for a reason. And so it doesn't feel so, it doesn't really throw me off balance as much as it would
Right.
if I was feeling like, oh God, why is this happening to me?
Absolutely. So let's talk about my day today. It's Saturday, and I'm proud of myself because after 10 years of being in my gym, owning my gym, I finally gave myself Saturdays off. And knowing that, I worked like insanely hard this week. It was just, there was so much on my plate. We've got cameras getting installed. We're hosting a gymnastics meet. It was new lesson plans and new registrations. We're trying to blow out the ceiling. So I'm talking to architects and contractors and, and my website, like it was so much. I was like, am I human or a robot right now? And then, of course, I got called into work today. I was like, oh, but I'm done. I have zero left. I spent it all, you know. But I just said, well, I better get myself a cup of coffee. And I went into work with joy in my heart. And I said, there must be a reason that I am supposed to be here today. And it was just a little 2-hour class. And the things I learned inside of that class today, Alicia, I was telling you earlier, I was watching the dynamics of these 8 little girls work in this beautiful web. They were supporting each other. One girl was a little bit down, and the others were lifting her up. And it was just so beautiful to witness and to be a part of and to kind of be the orchestrator of it, but then to step back and say, I have absolutely nothing to do with this. This is all being orchestrated in front of me. It was just such a cool moment. And I was really proud of myself to say, oh, in the past, I would have been like, oh, I'm such a business owner. I have to always be the one to get called in. But I didn't. I said, okay, I guess I'm going to work and I'm going to have a good time. And one of my little girls, I I had said, this is a place of joy, you guys. Look around. It's so colorful. And she's like, this is joynastics. So now I have this joynastics term that I did not have when I woke up this morning.
That's adorable.
So
And
yeah.
such a beautiful story to see such harmony and your girls working together and supporting each other.
It
And
really
and
was.
and the harmony within yourself. So that's that finding peace within yourself in that moment that could have been like, "Oh my God, I'm so drained. This is too much. I don't want to go in." And why me? That's that victim
Yeah.
mentality that we're
Yeah.
going to bring in too, because you can either look at it from a perspective of, I'm a victim of this situation. I don't want to do it.
Right.
Or you can say, this is an opportunity. Let's see where it leads me. What can
Yeah.
I do with this? It's not happening to me. It's an opportunity for more joy, for new wisdom, for, whatever might
For
come. And
connection. I love connection. I think connection is the answer to most things.
it really is healing. It's a
Mhm.
healing balm that we've been withheld from us in this last
Mm.
year. A lot of that connection has been more challenged. And, I actually went to a small gathering last night that promised connection. I was going to meet some people I hadn't seen in a really long time. I was going to meet new people. And it was a little chaotic within my being to notice like, wow, there's a lot of emotions coming up. There's a little tentativeness, there's a desire, there's so much going on. And so we're going to use these steps. Number one, trust that it's happening as a divine moment and everything happens for a reason. And here we are with an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And then what do? Step two is to stop, breathe, witness with presence, listen to your body. What's your body telling you? Follow that breath so that you can really just see, okay, so last night I noticed there's a lot going on in my body. There's a little nervousness. There's a little stretching happening. There's a desire for connection. We were doing a dance thing. So it was like, my body wants to move. I want to stretch. This is going to be so fun. But I wasn't just stretching physically, I was also stretching outside of my comfort zone
Mm-hmm.
of what has been this past year.
Mm-hmm.
And really step three, we're going to step into the choice. You get to choose your mindset, and we're going to go way into that because there's a lot to that. But in any moment where you trust that you can do it, trust in yourself, trust that this is all orchestrated for a good reason, stop and breathe and be present with yourself. And then what do you want to choose? It's about choosing a value or emotion or setting an intention for you. What's personal to you? What do you find meaning in? What do you really want? Do you want joy? Do you want adventure? Do you want love? Do you want caring and kindness? I mean,
You just want to
really,
get through your day.
you want to have energy. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, and what do you need to do then in that? Like, what's the next step to do that? But you really have to set the mindset
Mm.
before you can choose an action.
It's hilarious because that's exactly what my class was about today, was a trust. I said to the girls, you got to learn that you're going to be outside of your comfort zone. Anytime you come to gymnastics, you're going to be asked to do something outside of your comfort zone. And some people might see it as chaos. I see it as gymnastics class. But I said, you have to trust. And what are you going to trust? You're going to trust me. You're going to trust the mats. You're going to trust yourself. And all of that combined, hopefully, can allow that fear and that lack of comfort to just say, I see you, I hear you, I feel you, but we're going to trust a little bit bigger. And then we're going to move forward until you're comfortable. And I mean, these are little like 8-year-old girls. They're in a level 2 and 3 class. They're not competitors yet. And I was like, and then guess what, girls? We'll repeat that pattern like 100 more times because there's a lot of tricks to learn. And once you get comfortable, I'm going to give you something that's uncomfortable again. So it's almost funny, like, let's get comfortable being uncomfortable. And I
Isn't
know
that
that's a
life?
saying, but that's life. Yes.
That's life.
So getting comfortable with the chaos and the uncomfortable moments that you weren't expecting that are thrown on you, we have them constantly, especially those of us with children, and the shifting and twisting and turnings. I don't
Where's
know.
the peace?
Where's the peace?
The peace, it comes from within, and it comes from that rooted, grounded trust in the self,
Mhm.
in your ability, right? In gymnastics, you're trusting your body. And in life, you're trusting everything, your mind, your heart.
The
I was
orchestration of the divine.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I was talking with a client this week about in my coaching practice about trust, and she was looking at trusting her relationship, trusting her partner, trusting that they do want the same things. They do have the same values. And
Mm.
so then you get into this feeling of, like you were saying too, vulnerability. You have to step outside your comfort zone, and and that challenges that centered, peaceful, like if you just sat in one place and we're zen with your cushion in front of your altar, you could find some peace. But how do you find peace in those challenging moments where you have to stretch outside of where you feel safe? And then it's directing back within. The safety is within. You can trust yourself to move forward in a good way because you know yourself. You know yourself better than anyone. You know that you have the ability to do this, whatever it is.
So I'm going to be a little spontaneous here. Um, we had a wonderful week in the gym as well. Sorry, everything's about gymnastics in my life. It's saturated right now. But this is a big deal. Sometimes too, when you have something that's that's either you're afraid of or a change you're trying to make. We had a great experience this week where it's actually my daughter. She was afraid of this huge skeleton. They're called giants because they're giant.
They are giant.
And she literally just stopped doing them one day. And this was before COVID. And we put it down. The gym closed for 5 months. She grew like a weed, and our gym ceilings are restricted. So when we came back from COVID, I said, just don't worry about it. We're not going to train it anymore. Let me train you on other things that are equal difficulty. And then this week, Alicia, she said to me, I'm ready to do them. And I was like, okay. And this is like months of stress that I was like, I got to get her to do it. I'm failing as a mom. I'm failing as a coach. And she got up on the bar and she just did it like boom. And there's a video of it. I'm like jumping up and down. I was like, oh my God. And then she did it again and again and again. And then she did it again the next practice. And I'm just in this place of like, what just happened? And my assistant coach and I are saying, sometimes you have to put things down. So don't be afraid of putting it down for a little bit, whether it be if your kid is having trouble reading, or if there's something that's not finding the synergy, just say, we're going to put it to rest and revisit that when that feels more aligned. And when the desire comes up from you, it's not an outside influence. It's not a you have to, it's a I want to. And if you would have asked me about this 6 months ago, I'd have been like, I don't know what to do. But now I'm like, I just had to let it go for a little bit and it solved itself.
And that's a trust in the flow that it was going to come up and she was going to be capable when she was ready.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love hearing stories about that. And it is important to know that you can't push through everything. It's not about forcing it. It's not about making yourself okay with the situation. It's really checking in with, what do I need to do right now? And why is this even a challenge, right? She was going through her own growth spurt. It was on every level, not just growing like a weed like our kids are at this age, but growing internally, growing her own trust with her body as it's changing. I mean, that's a great reflection.
Mm-hmm. And I see this too in myself, and I'm sure you have plenty of echoing stories with relationships where you're trying so hard to make a relationship work instead of just backing up and trusting the flow of it. Like I get anxious sometimes in my life because I know that I have a very full schedule. So I'm like, but I could see you this Thursday between the hours of 5 and 7. And if the person doesn't want to do that, I'm like, but then I'm not going to see you for 2 weeks. And then I get all frustrated. But it's like, no, I have to trust that that's okay. And that's, like just let it go and the timing will be perfect, and trust in the universe. And I don't know if we're getting off track, but I just thought that was one that I've always struggled with, is relationship, trying to make things happen.
I think you're talking about patience, and that has come up all year and the last week. Even my mother was bringing up that, and I was like, I think that this is really about being patient and trusting that you can't push the flow. Spirit has its own timing. You just have to trust the timing of it, because you can't force it to happen. And sometimes we get so excited and motivated, and we have a desire to meet up with a friend or make something happen, or it's a work thing and we really have a deadline, we have to do it. How to have peace in that moment. Again, stop, breathe, witness. Then notice, check in with your body, heart, and mind. Where in your body do you feel the pull? What's driving you? What's the source of the excitement or the stress? Or is it a pressure to do?
I think what I would like to add in is, why is it bothering you so? Like, if there is something there, like, what this is, we were talking earlier, you and I, about having docking stations for certain reactions and certain triggers. And, so
Yes.
if,
Noticing the story, the
yeah,
pattern.
yeah, why am I not patient with this? Why am I fearful of this? Why does this person bother me so deeply? Why do they get into my skin and I can't let them go? It's like, what I've learned is that we hold docking stations for these certain energetic qualities. Um, I don't know if energetic imprint is the right word at this time, but um,
Well, it's something that happened to us in the past that we're reliving the story. It's a neurological pattern. It's like literally we have those neurons laid down, and so there's roads in our minds, and we just travel those same roads over and over again. And some of what we talked about in our trailblazing episode is creating a new pathway. It's
mhm,
important too.
mhm,
So, how do we create this pathway for inner peace during all of the chaos of what's going on? Is really recognizing that you get to choose your belief, your mindset, and you can visit the old story only so many times. You really need to let it go. You need to see it very clearly enough to say, I want to choose something different. And then continue to bring that back, continue to go through that pathway of peaceful centeredness, of focusing on balance, of non-reactivity, of choosing how you want to respond. Like you said with
mhm.
that first story, sort of choosing joy. Okay, well, I don't have a lot of energy for this, but I'm going to do the best that I can.
I'm going to gymnastics.
Gonna do it. Gonna do the gymnastics. Here we go. Yay.
And as you're saying, we have our steps. So our step one is that we trust it's happening for a reason. Step two is to breathe and be present in it. Um, Three is to choose the mindset you're going to move forward with. And then step four is to reflect, in my opinion. Go
Yeah.
home when you do have your pillow and your candle, and be quiet and say, why did that get to me? Or why do I think that that was presented to me? Um, I've had a few things come up lately that I thought I had solved. And, as you and I talk about, there's this spiral, and I have to keep reminding myself. So I don't mind repeating it on every podcast episode. We are going to revisit and revisit. And if you keep addressing, let's go to the garden analogy, you keep clip or pulling the grass out, but you don't get the root, it's going to keep growing. And oh, here I am around. Why is the grass back there? So when you reflect and you say, wow, that was a trust issue. I don't actually trust myself, or I'll be personal. I'm a very high achiever. And so if someone ever comes to me and says I'm not doing enough for them, or they want more from me, my first instinct is to go internal, and I attack myself, and it goes so deep, and then I turn into a puddle, and I spiral, and I'm like, and I think about all the thousands of things I've done for that person, instead of saying, this is an opportunity for me to stand in my sovereignty and stand in my pride and I'm like, ooh, I'm going to cry. Um, to say I do enough, and this person is perhaps um, not able to witness me for who I am completely, and let it not be me. Let it not be me, and let it be an insecurity I hold that I'm not enough, and get rid of that freaking docking station for that, because I am enough and I do enough. And
That's such a beautiful affirmation.
Yeah.
And so really good one to integrate in this mindset of I am enough, I am worthy, I am lovable, and to really to go back to that response to her or to that situation is that you don't take it personally. Whatever
Yeah.
anybody says about you or to you is their own reaction, their own response, what's coming up for them. And you can view it, listen to it, witness them, reflect back. You can be very present for their experience, but it really doesn't have anything to do with you. And when you clear out those docking stations, that doesn't trigger you anymore. It doesn't
Right.
make you feel not enough because you've got this really strong belief system and understanding within that trust that you are enough, that you are doing your best. And when someone comes to you and says, "You're not doing your best," or "You're not doing enough," you can respond, "I did everything that I possibly could. I'd love to see or hear you and understand what you need, but I might not be the person to give it to you." Not,
Right.
just because someone requests something of us or says they have a need doesn't mean we have to jump to fulfill that for them or reassure them. But
Hmm.
it's really the peacefulness comes from the witnessing others and witnessing ourselves, and having that inner dialogue of awareness and reflection that we are good, we are lovable, we
Hmm.
are worthy and enough. And everyone out there that's listening is so unique and special in their own way, that trusting that you have beautiful gifts and talents, that you have so much life experience to draw from, and if you don't know what to do in a situation, seek guidance, seek counsel.
Hmm.
We were saying that too. Surround yourself with positive, loving people that can reflect back to you and support you when you do have a challenge. A friend called me this morning. "Can I just talk this out with you? I'm having this challenge and I don't know what to do. I'm so scattered right now." Well, sometimes really one of the tools we have is to talk it out and
Hmm.
get some reflection from somebody that you really trust also outside of yourself, a beloved friend, a family member. And sometimes it's reaching to spirit and seeking spiritual guidance from a teacher or from a book, drawing a card, and then sitting in reflection with that wisdom, integrating that and learning from it, and incorporating it.
I've done that. I have so many books, and I'll pick a book, flip it open, and read one line and close it. And then I just go off of that one line. It's almost like a tarot reading, but through a book, because one line in one of these beautifully written, whether it's an intuitive book or mediumship book or whatnot, it's just like so powerful. And I trust that that was a message I needed to reflect on, and it gives me a little guidance. Um, yeah, I definitely, how do I say this? I love my people. I love
Yeah.
my people. I need my people. And I hope everybody out here listening knows who their people are. And if you don't, um,
We're here for you.
ask. Yeah, we're here for you. But go inside and say to the universe, like, I'm looking for my people. And, you have to put yourself out there, which is hard right now in COVID. I know a lot of places are totally normal. There's states in the United States that are just like doing their thing. And then there's other places that are still trying to integrate. But you'll find them. I'm surprised at the amount of connections I've made over this past year inside of a pandemic. It can
Right?
happen. So
It
that
can.
unconditional um, witnessing and support is so important.
I
So
would call them my soul tribe. Shelby and I,
yes,
obviously, soul tribe, soul
yes.
sisters, and those people that you can trust to be good guidance. And they say you are, and your belief systems and like how you respond to the world is reflective of your five closest people to you. So the people
Mm,
you keep close to you, really, you do have mirror neurons in your brain that reflect. And if you're reflecting some really negative, unhealthy people a lot because you're around them a lot, and it's hard when you live with people that are unhealthy, a roommate or even a family member that's just not good for you, or it's not good to be locked down with. this is one of those times that we really need to make some hard decisions sometimes to create boundaries. We've talked about that many times over, but it's really taking the action steps to do the right thing that is what you need, and trusting that you know what you need, trusting that you will be guided. And I think that's such a beautiful process. And I hope that this helps our listeners to feel more peaceful, and to really, if you need more help or more soul tribe, we have a Wednesday night virtual moon circle where we talk about the energies that are guiding us astrologically from the moon, from the cycles. We're in spring now, so we've got this new energy to work with, and a lot of that will fuel what you can do, and how active you can be, and we could be outside more, and that'll expand and help us through this next phase. And I wanted to say too that we would like to create an even larger community. Like this is going to be a fun new phase of post COVID, how we have connection, and we're going to come up with some new ideas, and it's going to be exciting to see what connections people come up with.
Absolutely. I'm going to plan our Two Spiritual Mamas tour starting in I think it was 24 maybe. We got to take some time to plan it out, but
we're setting some intentions. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'll close this, at least my thoughts, with mirrors. Everyone's a mirror, and I love to, like you just said, depersonalize things when they happen to you or happen for you, as we're trying not to be the victims of it, and celebrate that moment, whether it could be a challenging moment. We were saying earlier, you might get into a car accident. How do you see that as, a fender bender? That's not a positive thing, but who knows what that shifted your life into, and that person you ran into literally. Or we've talked about this in a lot of episodes, the serendipity of life, and using that flexibility and that positivity and the faith and the trust. But if you really look inside, I think love is something that we haven't even mentioned yet, but like unconditional love is really what each of us is here for each other. And unconditional love for someone that you're struggling with might be to let go of them and to say, no, thank you. I love you so much. We're separating,
Yeah, we will do more episodes on that because we've
Yeah.
both been through so much in relationships. And I think it's important to do a whole episode about trusting your heart and learning to trust your heart and follow that intuition of the heart and soul, and how we've gone through wounding moments. We've got stories built up inside of us that really color how we see the world. And this last year has been one of those times that everybody's going to see things a little differently because of how we've had to lock down and change. And I'm excited to see how we grow and expand out of it. And I'm excited to help people to grow and expand out of it through trust and through love. So
oh my gosh,
stay
I just
tuned.
could talk all night. I just have like 70 things going through my mind. Yes, stay tuned. You're amazing. We're all amazing. We're doing it.
That's right. Have a wonderful spring season, and come back and see us. New episode every Friday. And we're on Instagram and Facebook as Two Spiritual Mamas. So thank you so much for listening, and have a blessed day.
Thank you. Bye.